My brain is only a receiver in the universe. There is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists. All that was great in the past was ridiculed, condemned, combated, suppressed, only to emerge all the more powerfully, all the more triumphantly from the struggle. Let the future tell the truth and evaluate each one according to his work and accomplishments. The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine. This new world should be the world in which the strong won't exploit the weak, the bad won't exploit the good, where the poor won't be humiliated by the rich. It will be the world in which the children of intellect, science, and skills will serve the community in order to make lives easier and nicer. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own. The scientists of today think deeply instead of clearly. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. Be alone. That is the secret of invention. Be alone. That is when ideas are born. If I try to continue a broken line of thought, I feel a veritable spiritual nausea. Then, almost by chance, I go over to another job, surprised by the freshness of mind and ease with which I overcome obstacles which had tormented me before. And as a rule, I find answers to difficult questions with the least possible effort. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by married men. What we now want is closer contact and better understanding between individuals and communities all over the earth, and the elimination of egoism and pride, which is always prone to plunge the world into primeval barbarism and strife. Peace can only come as a natural consequence of universal enlightenment. I do not think there is any thrill that can go through the human heart like that felt by the inventor as he sees some creation of the brain unfolding to success. Such emotions make a man forget food, sleep, friends, love, everything. Our virtues and our failings are inseparable, like force and matter. When they separate, man is no more. Our senses enable us to perceive only a minute portion of the outside world. Our hearing extends to a small distance. Our sight is impeded by intervening bodies and shadows. To know each other, we must reach beyond the sphere of our sense perceptions. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, the 6, and the 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Invention is the most important product of man's creative brain. The ultimate purpose is the complete mastery of mind over the material world, the harnessing of human nature to human needs. Today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. The gift of mental power comes from God, divine being, and if we concentrate our minds on that, we become in tune with this great power. My mother had taught me to seek all truth in the Bible. I am credited with being one of the hardest workers, and perhaps I am, if thought is the equivalent of labor, for I have devoted to it almost all of my waking hours. But if work is interpreted to be a definite performance in a specified time, according to a rigid rule, then I may be the worst of idlers. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. Life is, and will ever remain, an equation incapable of solution, but it contains certain, known factors. The desire that guides me in all I do is the desire to harness the forces of nature to the service of mankind. As long as there are different nationalities, there will be patriotism. That feeling has to be rooted out from our hearts before the permanent peace is established. It should be replaced by love towards nature and scientific ideal. Science and inventions are strong forces which will lead to its termination. Most persons are so absorbed in the contemplation of the outside world that they are wholly oblivious to what is passing on within themselves. My method is different. I do not rush into actual work when I get an idea. I start at once building it up in my imagination. I change the construction, make improvements, and operate the device entirely in my mind. If he had a needle to find in a haystack, he would not stop to reason where it was most likely to be, but would proceed at once with the feverish diligence of a bee to examine straw after straw until he found the object of his search. Just a little theory and calculation would have saved him 90% of his labor. Instinct is something which transcends knowledge. We have undoubtedly certain finer fibers that enable us to perceive truths when logical deduction or any other willful effort of the brain is futile. The theory of relativity wraps all these errors and fallacies and clothes them in magnificent mathematical garb, which fascinates, dazzles, and makes people blind to the underlying errors. The theory is like a beggar clothed in purple, whom ignorant people take for a king. Its exponents are very brilliant men, but they are metaphysicists rather than scientists. I learned a dozen languages, studied literature and arts, spent my best years in libraries reading everything that came my way, and though I sometimes felt I was losing time, I quickly realized it was the best thing I ever did. I strongly believe in the rule of compensation. True awards are always in proportion with work and sacrifices.